Okay, so I'm going to be talking about my head injury that recently happened. Kind of backtracking to a little bit before that, I had been randomly passing out, but I didn't think much of it. I kind of thought I was dehydrated or something, or I don't know, but nothing had really been coming of it. I wasn't injuring myself or anything like that. Until one night I fainted and hit the ground. Um, they called a paramedic for me, and the paramedics took my vitals. My vitals were fine. Um, and in that moment, I was kind of delusional, a little out of it. And for some reason, I thought I was in trouble. So I really didn't want to go to the hospital. So I signed something saying they checked me out. I'm good. I can go home. But my friends kind of didn't really agree with that. They said, "This is not Olivia. She doesn't seem like herself." Um, but I had signed something saying I didn't need to be taken in. So they said, "She's fine, take her home." And my friend said, "Okay, what should we do with her for the night?" And they said, "Make sure she doesn't sleep." So their thought was kind of like, if it's serious enough that she shouldn't be sleeping at all, don't you think you should keep an eye on her for the night? But they didn't, so they took me home. I spent the night on my bathroom floor just because it was cold and it felt good, I guess. And they would check in on me every few minutes. I had the lights off, and I was throwing up from it. That can happen sometimes when you get a concussion. So the next day around 3, I was still laying in the dark on the bathroom floor, throwing up. So my roommate called her mom, who's a nurse, and her mom said, "Take her to the hospital. She might have brain bleeding." Um, so they took me in. The way they got me there um, was they covered my eyes with a mask, and then one of my friends carried me from my apartment to the car. They got me to the hospital, got me into a room in a bed, hooked me up to an IV, hooked me up to a heart monitor, took a couple of CAT scans, and they found from the heart monitor that I have an irregular heart wave, um, giving me a heart condition. It's not like a fatal thing. It's just my heart raises more easily than a normal heart. It's like something that would raise the heart rate of a normal person a little bit would raise mine a lot. So like things like caffeine, I have to be careful of. And then with the CAT scan, they found that I'd fractured my skull kind of from the middle left side, coming all the way through to, I believe, about here. I had some air in my brain. So they put me on medication to stop the swelling of my brain. Um, I also couldn't hear out of my left ear, and they found that it was pretty full of blood. Kind of felt like it was plugged, like when you're on an airplane. And so my thought was, once my ear becomes unplugged, my hearing will come back. Um, so I spent the night in the hospital. The next day, my mom came, and that day they woke me up in the morning. There was a physical therapist saying, "Let's go on a walk." Um, so that was, I hadn't walked yet since it. And it was kind of difficult. I couldn't really stand on my own. I couldn't really walk on my own. It was I was really dizzy. Every time I had to go to the bathroom, I would have to have somebody come get me and help me get to the bathroom. So after our walk, she said, "Okay, let's get you a walker." I said, "That's temporary, right?" She said, "I don't know." So here I was, this 20-year-old girl, being told I might need a walker for the rest of my life. Um, right after that, my mom showed up, and I just burst right into tears because that was some pretty scary news. Following that, my mom stayed for about a week because I really couldn't have functioned without her. Um, I didn't go to classes all week. I um, finally got to the hospital after 2 nights, 3 days. Um, and I was at a hotel with her, and I was just incredibly slow moving at that point. Our like big thing of the day was to make it like a quarter of a mile to a coffee shop and back. And after that, I was exhausted, and I felt like everyone was looking at me because I felt like I was walking, staggering all over the place, kind of. So the next week, I tried start going back to classes, but I had also started going to 8 million doctor's appointments a week. Physical therapy twice a week, occupational therapy 1 to 2 times a week, an ear, nose, and throat doctor for my ear, a cardiologist for my heart, general physician to kind of oversee it all. Um, you name it, I went, or I'm still going. Um, so then when I met with the EMT, he looked at my, he gave me a hearing test and looked at my x-rays, and from that, um, decided that he doesn't think I'll ever hear again out of my right ear. I was actually called by a nurse, not by him, who said, "You're deaf out of your left ear." And I don't know why, because the doctor didn't tell me. But you need a cochlear implant. I was like, okay, I'm 20, I don't want a hearing aid. Um, is there a way I could not get one? She said, I don't know. So eventually the actual doctor called me. I think I'm going to skip the hearing aid and just stay deaf in one ear for the time being. I'm wearing a heart monitor. Throughout all this, I don't know, I guess the scariest thing has just been that I came as close as I did to dying. If I had hit my head a little harder, if I had been 5 pounds more. Cracking your skull, you're hitting your head pretty hard. Or if I had had brain damage from it, or if they had taken me home and my brain had bled out. There's just so many things that I came so close, and it's really scary because I think especially young people have an idea that we're somewhat invincible and can to some extent do what we want, and it's not going to touch us. And this was just a large realization that we're not at all. Um, and it just keeps coming back to me, every day that, yeah, this sucks that I will never hear again out of my left ear. But it could have been a lot worse. But even still, it's just terrifying that I did come that close.